everybody. My name is Nyemade Boiwu, and I'm the Chief Content Officer at AllGo. Welcome to another episode of Love Handles All, where we share love stories from people from all different backgrounds and just talk about love, because who doesn't love love, right? I'm so excited. I have my guests today, Bree and Daniel. Would you two like to just tell everybody a little bit about yourselves before I dive in with my questions?
Who's first?
You go first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Bree. My pronouns are they, them. I am a fat person who is also queer and non-binary and neurodivergent and chronically ill and white and a lover of all cats. I'm also a peer counselor and a tarot reader. And I love this person.
And I am Daniel. My pronouns are he, they. I am what am I? I'm Chicano, Chicanx, I don't know however you want to call it. Mexican American person. I am non-binary. I am queer. I am fat. I am a big nerd. I'm also neurodivergent, and I do a lot of driving for a living.
Okay, very nice. Well, to start it off, of course, the first question is, how did you two meet?
The internet.
Yeah, online.
We met like probably 6.5 years ago, using OkCupid. And but the first time we met in person was at a shitty bar.
Yeah. Yeah, just like a little dive bar in Burbank.
Yeah, and we drank a lot of beer, which is kind of funny because we don't drink anymore. But we drank a lot of beer. We played Jenga for like 4 hours, and then a bunch of drunk people started doing shitty karaoke, and so we went to a diner.
Nice. How long did you know each other, like through the app and online, before you met?
Maybe a week?
No, it was longer.
2 weeks?
I remember we started talking around Halloween, and we met like mid to late November. It was right before Thanksgiving, I feel like.
Yeah.
So mid-November. Right. So maybe a few weeks to a month. And
did the connection that you had online transition to in person smoothly, or was it like a little awkward at first?
It was better, I think, in person.
Yeah, the beers help too. Definitely.
You know, it does help that they do help that way.
Yeah, we talked literally for hours and hours and hours. I was really surprised. And it also helped that, like, when I first walked in, they were at the virtual, electronic jukebox, just a thing on the wall, but you could control the music in the bar, and Daniel had like predetermined like an entire playlist that basically ran through the whole date. So like while we were talking, I was taking note of the music that was playing, and that actually I felt like was very correct on your part. And they say they didn't do this on purpose, but I remember hearing Queen's Fat Bottom Girls, and I was like, I see you.
Yeah. I love that. Music is so important. Like, I think music, well, I walk around and I hear like music, not like I hear music, but like, I feel like I can soundtrack any moment at any given moment in time, because like, there's always a song that goes along with like what's going on. So I love that you like soundtracked that date for you.
Yeah, it's kind of a theme in our life now. We just had our 6th anniversary on Monday, and a thing we do is we trade playlists that we make for each other. Like, that's the gift we do. And that's how we got to know each other. Like, before we were even like official, like we made mix CDs to like introduce each other to music we like. And we did one that was like important music to us, and like even like wrote out a whole like document to explain.
Yeah. I love that though, because like songs really do matter. And I was actually just recently thinking about how it's crazy how sometimes like albums will soundtrack your life. Like, they just happen to come out near a time where you're going through major stuff, and like that somehow now has become like, every time you hear that album, you're like, oh, you're instantly in like that moment. So
Right.
I love that you guys share that with each other. That's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. I think we now recognize that playlists are one of our love languages.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
music in general, I think,
Yeah.
because yeah, it's kind of like it's gone throughout our relationship, like pretty much like the entire time
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning, from that first date, making that big playlist on that jukebox
Yeah.
to like now.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So how long have you guys been together total?
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
And
Our
okay.
anniversary was on Monday, so 6 years on Monday, and then probably add a few months onto that when we like met.
Mm. Nice. So like thinking about your dating history prior to each other, what was that like? What was that journey to love like for you guys?
Oh gosh. Who, you want to go or should I?
I guess I'll go first. So I'd kind of been pretty much just like serial monogamous. I pretty much just kind of jumped from relationship to relationship. And pretty much all of them had been like just long relationships. And really at the time we met, I had just gotten out of another relationship, and I wasn't really thinking about like dating like I wasn't thinking about like just dating like exclusively or anything. I wasn't like trying to be in a relationship, and it would just I was just like online just seeing what was out there, and I was kind of lost. And then like when we met, like I really did feel like there was like this connection that I was like, this is undeniable, and I can't and I couldn't shake it. It was just one of those things where I was just like, I can't shake that. This is nothing like nothing I've ever like encountered before in any of my relationships. And it was pretty much just like, you know, I don't know, I think just they were unlike anyone else I had ever been with. And so I was like, oh, okay, I can't deny this connection that we have. And so yeah, and that kind of just led here. And pretty much my relationships had just been like pretty much like just cishet women for the most part. And at the time too, as I consider myself a cishet man, and I've kind of come into my own kind of gender identity that I'm still kind of learning since then. And and now being where we are, like if you would have told me then where I would be now, and like would I have thought like I'd actually be in like a queer relationship or like even consider myself queer, I'd probably be like, no, not at all, and and I think just through this whole relationship, it's been just a journey of growth. I think, for both of us. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I'm talking out of school and saying that.
You're correct.
Yeah. So, so that's. Did I answer your question? I think I did.
Yeah,
no, you did. You did. You did.
For me, before this relation, I mean, some context. This is my healthiest relationship ever, so that tells you what the previous ones were like. And that honestly had a lot to do with me. I've done a lot of my own inner and outer work to address like what just wasn't working for me in the past. I was kind of a hot and cold dater relationshipper. Like I would be in a relationship and I would be like I thought I was being loyal, but really I was like holding on for dear life, even when it wasn't the right relationship or wasn't going well. And then when I would get out of a relationship, I'd be like, fuck relationships. Like, I'm never doing it again. And so then I'd have a period of being single, and just doing my thing. And I've identified as queer in one way or another. The language has changed for me over the years since I was a kid. But one thing that I was recognizing that didn't make sense to me was that I was always ending up not only in straight presenting relationships, like even if I was queer, the other person was a straight, like cis het dude. Just like I was landing these people whose like ethics didn't vibe with mine, politics didn't vibe with mine. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, why is this happening? And so that's where the like inner work came in to like determine like, you know, my own like just shit that impacted the way I was choosing relationships and navigating relationships. So I've done my own work, and then we've also done work together. And now it's like the shit. I can't believe I did relationships any other way before.
Right. No, that's amazing. I love that you've recognized it and done the work that you need to make those good choices, you know, to make partners that align. You know, people often say that, you know, like, oh, why do I attract these, you know, horrible partners and things like that? And it's like, those people actually are just trying to leech onto anywhere. It's not that there's anything about you that's attracting them. You're just accepting them. And then once you start that healing, you stop accepting them. So I love that you've gotten to that place to find someone that, you know, you deserve, that makes you happy. Do you think part of why you were accepting of being treated less than you deserved though in the past was it all like your internal life stuff, some of your external feelings about how you looked, or a mix of both?
Definitely a mix of both. Like, I think that it has to do with like intergenerational trauma, so shit that I inherited. And then the experience what I've experienced myself. And I definitely, I will say, for a long a long period of time, I do think I was like acting out of one of my earliest memories was in of relationship kind of dating stuff was in 6th grade. I had a crush on some dirty skater boy. And my friend told him, and his response was that I was cool, but I was too fat to date. And I basically like accepted that as a challenge. So for a long period of time, I was just like, oh, you think I'm too fat to date? Well, I'm gonna show you. And that's why I think I would accept anybody and anything, because it was like, for me, just an unhealthy way of trying to like combat that. And then I realized my self-worth and how I feel about my body actually doesn't have shit to do with anybody else. Like, it's about me. Just like my dating and relationship history in the past really was about me and dealing with my stuff. It's not about other people. But what do you think
about your dating?
No, her question.
What? Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely my thing for a long time was just like being like super insecure in like not like myself, both like physically and mentally, and just kind of like falling into like wanting to be like basically taken care of, like just someone like that'd be like, yeah, okay, you could do that, like, and go do, you know, and just kind of would be like dismissive of me. But when I met Bree, you know, Bree was just like, I got my own shit to deal with, like I can't handle your shit too. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I kind of also like kind of took that as a challenge, and it would have been something that like I knew like in my heart that I'm like I needed to work on myself and do like some work on myself and get my own like mental health in order and stuff, and eventually like that that led to where we are now. So yeah, and I definitely have grown a lot, and I've learned a lot, and I've and it's not it wasn't ever like something that I did to be like let me just do this, and then once I get like tiny bit better, then I'm like, okay, I just drop it and that's it. It's a continual it's continual growth. Like I'm still growing, I'm still learning how to deal with my own. I still deal with like insecurities, but I handle them differently now than I would have 6-7 years ago at this point.
No, so. That's awesome. And I love that you both have put in the work and keep putting in the work, because like you said, you can't just stop once it works. You have to keep putting it in. Well, I hope that this next question does not make you back up in your tracks of progression and healing, but I would like to know what you each think the other person thinks their pet peeve of you is, or what drives them the most crazy about you.
How long do we have?
Yeah, right. I think I have something if you need a minute. So, actually on the topic of like mental health, while we do have to do our own work for our own stuff, like learning about each other's neurodivergences has been like monumental. Like I have bipolar 1, Daniel has ADHD. So yes, we're neurodivergent, but our functioning is completely different. And so I think something that probably is a pet peeve, I mean, it definitely annoys you, even though you're so patient and kind about it. But I recognize like how Daniel's functioning fluctuates throughout the day. But I am like a massive talker. I like, that's part of like the healing I've done is now I talk about everything, whereas before I repressed everything.
Yeah.
And so I will talk. And there's a point at night where Daniel is just functioning differently. Because of your meds, right?
Yeah.
Like his medication wears off, and like, just it won't be as chatty. And, whereas I'm like, how was your day? This is my day. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure it's not like super fun, but they tolerate it.
Yeah, I mean, you could say like I get like kind of grumpy at night, and it's usually like coming back from work and just being like, my medication is like done and I'm hungry and I'm just like I don't want to deal with anything. So I totally understand that. And but I don't
what about me?
Let's see.
What do I do that annoys you? Or
no,
vice versa.
It's what I do that annoys you. That's what I'm like,
what do you think they would say you do that annoys you?
I probably like, oh, I know. It's probably like decision making. I'm terrible at making decisions, and they give me choices a lot, like of like, oh, do you want? What are we gonna do with this, or what are we gonna do, or how do you want to go about this? And I'm like, I don't know. And a lot of times, I'm like, I struggle to even be like, I don't know if I care about this one way or another, and I can't like. It doesn't make a difference to me, and I know like I'm sure like sometimes they're like, I wish you did care about this because this is a thing I'm asking for a reason, but it's that's the one thing I think I could think of, and that's
that used to bother me. I don't think it bothers me anymore because I just like get it now, like it's all good.
Yeah. It's all good. Well, on the flip side of that, I'd love to know what you love about each other. So if you want to each give me your top 3 things, your top 3 things you love, or your top 3 favorite things about each other.
You go first.
Okay. I want to try to pick different things. So I'll pick a physical thing, which is Daniel has a really cute little gap in their teeth. And I love it. I'll pick this is kind of about both of us, but I love that a lot of the things that like we've evolved on, is that the right way to say it? Whatever. We've evolved in ways that are like on the same page without trying, you know, like we've come to certain things organically, like he mentioned like gender identity, like we both came into our identity similarly, and spiritually too. So I don't know, the fact that you're on the same wavelength as me, I guess that's it.
Awesome, yeah.
That sounds so like self-centered Taurus of me. And one other thing, just so patient and kind and generous. I feel like those all go together. Like I deal with a lot of chronic illness and chronic pain, and I really don't know how I would get through it without their help and support. Like just anything I ever need or want, like Daniel is on it.
I love that.
Let's
Daniel, what about you?
I think I've said this before other places, but definitely Bree's compassion. They're so compassionate and empathetic. It's really like rubbed off on me because over the years I've been a real prick about things, and I've and I've just learned, and they've really just taught me to like chill out and not like care about that kind of stuff. Yeah, because I know like when we first met, I was just full of just piss and vinegar about every little thing, and now I really those kind of things don't bother me anymore. Yeah, so
That's one thing.
So they keep me on track. They keep me on track. They keep me organized. Like a lot of times, like if I'm having trouble like processing things or just like remembering like what order of things, they'll be like, okay, like let's figure out like how do we want to go about this? How do we want to let's make a plan. And because I'm not a planner, I'm just like a doer. Let me just do it, just jump into it and just see what happens. And they're very much like, no, let's make a plan and let's figure this out so that it's not so complicated, because I'll get overwhelmed and I'll be like, I'm doing too much at once, and I get, then I don't want to do it, and then nothing happens. So yeah, they've been able to like help me so much just in, trying to figure out, just trying to navigate my brain sometimes is difficult.
Yeah.
One more.
This
is easy. I'm trying to tell you telepathically what to say.
I know. I'm receiving it. Your butt.
There we go.
Yeah, I love their butt.
That's a good one. I love it. That's a fabulous list. Yeah. Well, I can't thank you both enough for coming and sharing a little bit about yourself. Before I let you go, one of the main reasons I started this is I feel like, especially when we're younger, all the examples we see of love look a certain way. And so that sort of forms what we think we can get for ourselves. So if you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, your teenage self, what would you tell them?
About love?
Yeah.
Oof. I just want to like hug them. Because I'm thinking about what was going on at 18, and it was one of my most like problematic relationships. And I would just want to hug them and be like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Like your feelings are valid. Like even if it's your partner, like don't let anybody invalidate your feelings, and that you don't have to settle. Like, it's okay if it takes time to find somebody that's worth your time, That's probably what I would say.
I'd probably be like, get on medication and get into therapy sooner rather than later. Figure out your shit before jumping into more relationships, and because that, I think back then I definitely needed it. I definitely had a lot of my insecurities were showing, even though like I probably would have been like, no, I'm fine, like I'm great, like I don't. And and also like keep an open mind, even though like I probably at the time was like, I'm the most open-minded person I know, which is like not the truth at all.
Yeah. Well, I love the insightfulness, at least, because you need that level to get to the next level after you have the awareness. But again, thank you both so much for coming and sharing your love story. I love learning a little bit more about the two of you and how you came together and how you're navigating love. So thank you very much. And thank you also to all those watching at home.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Absolutely.